आज ही डाउटनट ऐप डाउनलोड करें। डाउटनट पर होगा अब आपके सभी मैथ्स, केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स और बायोलॉजी डाउट्स का सफाया। बस अपने क्वेश्चन की फोटो खींचो, उसे क्रॉप करो और तुरंत वीडियो सोल्यूशन पाओ। डाउनलोड नाउ।
Hello everyone. Question says that the lines R vector is equals to A vector plus lambda times B cross C, and the second line given as B vector plus mu times C cross A vector will intersect if, so we have to tell that when these two lines will intersect, that is option number A, option number B, option number C, or none of these. So if we have two lines, this is the line 1 and let's say this is line 2. So if two lines intersect each other, that means the point A represents the position vector of that point that lies on the line L1. Let's say this is the line L1 and this is the line L2. So this position vector A vector is actually the position vector of any point that lies on the line L1. So let's say this is the point A, corresponding to which we are having A vector. So we have OA vector, where OA vector is the vector from origin to point A, and similarly we have B vector for the other line. This B vector corresponds to some point B, that is the position vector of the line of the point B on the line L2. So we can say that OB vector is B vector. Now if we consider the vectors B cross C, so we know any vector form of line which is given as A plus lambda B. A is the position vector of the point lying on the line and B is the vector that is parallel to the given line. So if this is the given line, then B vector is a vector that is parallel to this line. This is what we mean by the vector in the scalar multiplication. So B cross C here will correspond to a vector that will be parallel to the line L1. So let's say this is the vector B cross C, and similarly the vector C cross A will also correspond to a vector that will be parallel to the line L2. So let's say this is the vector C cross A. Now if we consider B cross C and C cross A, B cross C is a vector that is perpendicular to B vector. Also B cross C is perpendicular to C vector. Similarly, C cross A is a vector which is perpendicular to A vector and it is also perpendicular to C vector. So let us say this is 1 and this is 2. So if we observe 1 and 2, we can say that C vector is perpendicular to B cross C as well as it is perpendicular to C cross A. That means the cross product of B cross C and C cross A will give C, because cross product gives the vector which is perpendicular to both the given vectors, and since C vector is perpendicular to both the vectors, that means we can write B cross C vector cross product with C cross A vector. So the cross product of these two vectors will give C vector, and we know how to solve these vector, this product. We know if A vector cross B vector is in cross product with C vector cross D vector, then it is given as, this will be given scalar triple product of A vector, B vector, D vector, dot product with C vector minus scalar triple product of A vector, B vector, C vector, dot product with the fourth vector D vector. This is the formula. So by using this formula, we can write it as A vector. This is A vector that we have is B vector. So this is B vector. This is C vector, A vector, dot product with the third vector C vector, scalar triple product, and minus B, C and C product with A vector, and this is equals to C vector. Now we know cross product of C cross C will give 0 because the vector with itself cross product gives 0. So this will be 0 and this term will be 0. So we are left with just B, C, A scalar triple product dot C is equals to C vector, and this can be written as B, C, A scalar triple product. C, we can take this minus C here. So this is 0 and this is the scalar triple product B dot C cross A with the dot product C minus C vector. If we take C vector common, so this will be C vector and we will have B dot C cross A vector and this will be minus 1 is equals to 0. Now C vector multiplied with this vector is 0. That means either C vector is 0 or this vector is 0. Now since C vector cannot be 0, ABC must be non-zero vector. So B dot C cross A minus 1 should be 0 since C vector cannot be 0. And if this is equals to 0, that means B dot C cross A is 1. That is dot product of B vector with C cross A is 1. Now dot product gives 1 when the two vectors are parallel to each other because they are at cos 0. So cos 0 will be 1. So for that we can say B vector is parallel to C cross A vector. Now if B vector is parallel to C cross A vector, this means that B vector is some constant times, let's say some lambda 1 times C cross A vector. And that means B1 vector is perpendicular to C vector. B vector is perpendicular to C vector. Also B vector is perpendicular, this is perpendicular to A vector. Now the condition that we have was scalar triple product BCA dot C is equals to C vector. On the similar basis, we can say that because BCA is equals to ABC, so we can say that ABC scalar triple product C will be C vector. And if we solve this on the similar basis, we will get A vector dot, this time it will be B cross C vector. This will be 1, and from here we can say that A vector is parallel to B cross C vector, and we can say that this is parallel, and this implies that A vector should be perpendicular to B and A vector should be perpendicular to C vector. And similarly, since BCA can be written as ABC and which can be written as CAB. So CAB is equals to dot product with C will give C, and this will give C dot A cross B is equals to 1, and thus C vector is parallel to A cross B, and C vector, this implies C vector is perpendicular to A as well as it's perpendicular to B. So if we look at the conditions that we have, this is 1, 2 and 3. So from 1, 2 and 3 we can see that all the three vectors are perpendicular to each other. A is perpendicular to B, B is perpendicular to C, and C is also perpendicular to A. So we can say that A, B and C are perpendicular to each other. And if two vectors are perpendicular to each other, that means, if we have three vectors which are perpendicular to each other and we have derived them from these three equations. This was the first term, this was the second, and this was third. So we can say that their cross product C cross A cross B and B cross C must be parallel to each other, and thus we should say that C cross A is some scalar times, this is some scalar times the product B cross C, and this will be equals to some scalar times, this was A cross B. And if we take lambda and mu scalars as 1, so we can say that C cross A is equals to B cross C, which is equals to A cross B. So this is the condition that will be satisfied when the two lines are intersecting. So if we look at the option number 1 says that A cross C is equals to B cross C. So this is to A cross C. We can write it as minus of A cross C, and that will again be a scalar. So A cross C is equals to B cross C. This is true. Second option is not correct because A dot C is equals to B dot C. That means A minus B is in dot product with C is 0. This is what we mean by option number B. According to the condition we have derived, it is not correct. And option number C, which says that B cross A is equals to C cross A. So again B cross A, we can write it as minus of B cross A. Again it will be a scalar. So this is equals to C cross A. So that means option number C is also correct. So two lines intersect if option number A and option number C happens. So we have the two answers. Thank you.
क्लास 6 से 12 से लेके नीट IIT JEE मेंस और एडवांस के लेवल तक 10 मिलियन से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स का भरोसा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें डाउटनट ऐप या व्हाट्सएप कीजिए अपने डाउट्स 8400 400 400 पर।